loud as I can. Thank you for hopping on. I know how busy you are, especially being a mother and also, working in an agency, going through your whole real estate venture. And that's what I'm going to be asking you about today. So I'm excited.
I'm nervous.
Remember what we spoke about, positive self-talk. So, let's go ahead and start with an introduction. I did not say your name at all. So if you want to start off with your name, where you're from, where you grew up.
Okay. Well, my name is Vanessa. I'm from Montclair. I live in Chino now, but I've grown up in the Inland Empire all my life. So I actually do all my business in the Inland Empire as well, which I like. I feel like there's there's nothing better than trying to uh, better your cities, the surrounding cities.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I know there was a TED talk that I listened to about a young boy who he said, why are we always encouraged to leave the city? Which I did, right? That I grew up in. But that's awesome that you consider that. Like a lot of people don't. So that makes me proud being from the IE that people like you doing a good service for them.
Yeah.
My next question to you, Vanessa, is so coming out of high school, right? Everybody either goes to school or gets a job. What route did you take and why?
So after high school, I actually moved up north for about a year, and that just, I don't know, I came home and I didn't know what direction to take. I was going to school up there. I came back, I joined school over here, and I don't know, I didn't stick with it, and I was working like odd jobs. I mean, I was working in bars, and I was serving, I was bartending, um, but then I had kids, and I actually stayed home for like almost 5 years. And when I jumped into real estate, I needed something to get out of the house because I was tired of it. I thought, like, okay, real estate is flexible. I grew up in the real estate industry because my mom is a lender and my stepdad, um, he does the real estate. So I've always like kind of been around it, but I just needed something that was going to be flexible with raising my kids and put some money in my pocket. And so I decided to do real estate. And so they give you like three really big textbooks. And I actually started to read the textbooks, which everybody's like, why are you reading them? They're like this thick. So I was reading them, and it took me so long. And then I finally was like, okay, I can't do this. It's just too much to read. So I just started practicing all of the practice tests. I memorized all the practice tests. I started taking online tests. Um, I was watching all these YouTube videos. I was memorizing the YouTube videos, and that's actually kind of what helped me to pass my test. Um, but yeah, so I started off as a stay-at-home mom, and I thought I'm starting my career so late. And I mean, I was only 27, so I wasn't really old, but I stayed home for so many years, and then I felt like I was just starting really late, and I had to change my mindset. And I just tell myself, like, I'm not starting late, I'm starting. And
There you go.
so, but that's how I got into real estate. It's kind
Okay, I love that. I love that what you just said. It geeks me up because I'm huge on personal growth, personal development. So you having that self-talk is huge. There's a few things I do want to highlight. Thank you for opening up about attending school, and things happen, life happens. And one of the big reasons I even decided to host these calls is to let people know there's always different routes that anybody could take, right? Some people go to a 2-year program at the CC. Some people go to a 4-year university. Some people go get their master's, PhD. You know, but other people find a route, right? A different route where, you know, you had the upbringing kind of being around the industry, seeing your mother as a lender and then your stepfather being in the industry, which is cool. And what I like that you mentioned is you technically graduated from YouTube University, which is awesome. A
Yeah.
lot of us, we're so fortunate nowadays to have all this information, right in front of us. Because I remember I was thinking back about studying, we had to go to the library, look at the encyclopedias. So
Yeah.
everything's so fast now, which is cool. And when you find something that you like, you stick with it. And that's what I see in you is that when you decided to dedicate your life to real estate, not only for the perks and benefits that it offers, but it's a lengthy process. It's not easy. I feel like you're selling yourself a little short. Just by you even attempting to pick up those books, a lot of people would get discouraged. So I applaud you for that. And you did go through the certifications, the licensing. So it's not easy. So pat yourself on the back, Vanessa, because you did it. um, my next question to you: you've gone through that. You're starting the process. You know, especially coming from being a mother and then entering now the workforce. How was that transition? I know it must not have been easy. Talk a little bit about that.
Um, it definitely was not easy. I feel like when I was at home studying for my real estate exam, so you have to take online courses and then you have to pass those exams. And then once you pass those exams, then you can apply to take the actual state proctored exam. And it was a lot of studying, and I was staying home at the time with my kids, so like having my kids climb all over me while I'm trying to study. I had my friend over and she would study with me, and so we would both try to like she would help me, with my kids, but it was really hard getting into it. And then at the time they weren't in school, and now they're in school. One is in school full time, and I have a stepson that I also help take care of, and he's in school full time. And then I have my little one, who is only part time because she's TK, and her schedule is really really difficult. She doesn't start till 11:35, and then she's out at 3, so she's only in school for about 4 hours. So dealing with that and on top of my actual schedule is really hard, But I'm super grateful that I have the flexibility to be able to do that. You know, um, her dad and I both have that flexibility with work. So, I mean, if there's like something that I really have to get to, he's able to kind of pick up where I leave off. I mean, I have a lot of help. I have a really good support system, so that helps.
Okay. Let's put a pin in that because I will ask you about a support system only because I know how important it is to have that. But one thing that sticks out to me, I always admire parents. I don't have kids of my own, so whenever I'm like feeling like down on myself, I always think back to there's people with children out there that they have to care for, and that's so much time that you have to commit to. Like it's not even an option. Like you have to be there for them. And the fact that you had that discipline and determination to complete your courses, complete your exams while staying home and taking care of your kids, again, right? I always like to applaud people for what they do because I think we are our own worst enemy. So a lot of the times we don't give ourselves that credit. Again, Vanessa, you are awesome. That's amazing. That's such a great story. And transitioning, yeah, I like that you transition into a career that gives you that flexibility.
Yeah.
Um, I would not be able to speak to this, but I know like a separation from a child, plays into some factors when it comes to going back to work.
Yeah.
So, that's awesome that you were able to find that within your profession. Um, so let's talk a little bit about the actual profession. So let's talk about maybe some success stories through real estate and then how you transition from residential to commercial and maybe why.
So originally, I started off in residential. growing up, I used to go with my mom to show houses, and back then it was. I mean, we're super blessed to have technology because back then it wasn't as easy as it is now. You know, I could put an address in my phone and maps will just take me where I need. It's not. It wasn't like that when my mom would show houses. So I would go to be her co-pilot. So I remember we used to go on MapQuest and we'd have to print out like we'd have to go like the shortest route possible without backtracking. And we would print out all the directions and I would sit in the passenger seat and I would guide her to like the next house, you know, and I would sit in the car, but I always wanted to go in. Like, I don't know if it's maybe I'm just a little nosy, but I always wanted to know what other people's houses were like. Like, I want to see how other people were living. So when I was initially getting into real estate, I was super excited because I was like, oh, I can't wait to see all the houses. But what you don't realize is when you're coming into real estate, like to go see those houses, you're usually the one that is working with buyers. And working with buyers is really expensive because you're constantly driving everywhere to show people houses, you know. And I really struggled with residential because it was very emotional. And I'm not
Mm,
a pushy person. I'm not aggressive. So you have to have a little bit of that to work in residential because you have to be able to guide people um, pretty sternly, you know, like, or they'll just kind of guide you all over the place. And once you kind of let the client take control, it's all downhill from there. And I didn't have that in me to be like, hey, okay, this is like, I would have a client that I would get into escrow, and then right when we get into escrow, they're like, actually, this is not what I want to do. And then I'm like, okay, so we cancel escrow, we keep looking for houses, and then we get into another escrow, and they're like, actually, you know, you have to be able to like remind them, like, this is what you wanted. And I just didn't have that in me. I felt like I can't push somebody to do something, especially a big purchase like this, if they don't feel like they're ready. So I really struggled with residential. Um, and one day I remember I was telling, so my stepdad does commercial real estate. He originally did residential, and about maybe 5 years ago, he transitioned into commercial. And so I was working with him at the same office, but I was doing residential. He was doing commercial. One day I was just telling him, like, I don't think this is for me. Like, I don't know if I want to keep doing it. And him and his partner were like, you know, maybe you should try commercial. It's really different. And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, think about it. And they're like, go home tonight, think about it, come up with the answer, and tomorrow tell us yes or no. And I was like, okay. The next day I come back and they're like, okay, did you figure it out? And I'm like, I didn't. I'm super indecisive. I did not figure it out. And so they just told me, they're like, look, we're going to give you 5 seconds to make a decision right here, right now. And I was like, okay. And they're like, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, what are you going to do? And I was like, oh no. Okay, I'll do it. They're like, look, do commercial, give it 3 months and see if you like it. And if you don't like it, the worst that's going to happen is you're going to go right back to where you were. So I was like, okay, fine. So that same day, they gave me a list of businesses to cold call and just to ask around. Like, so I think they kind of helped me to change my mindset. In residential, I felt like I was asking for something. When I came into commercial, I didn't feel like I was asking for something anymore. I felt like I was offering something now. And I
mm,
feel like now that I look back, I know that it was just a mindset change, but it changed a lot for me because now I felt like it helped me to gain control. And so when I came into commercial, I felt more empowered, you know, like, and I
yeah.
had no idea what I was doing. I feel like most people, when I tell them I do commercial real estate, they're like, what exactly is that? Like, a lot of people
Hmm.
don't, I feel like it's not really talked about. When you think real estate, you think residential. But I feel
Hmm.
like there's a whole industry of commercial, and it's all buildings and leasing buildings. And I don't know. I think it's more, you work with a lot of business savvy people, and I really like that about commercial real estate. I like that people come in and it's not as emotional, you know, because it's not going to be your home; it's an investment, and I
Yeah.
think what I really love about commercial real estate. But I don't know. I think since I've started, I feel like I've taken on some listing. I do a lot of leasing, which my goal this year is to work towards actual sales of property. But I don't know. I love commercial real estate. I think that a lot more women should know about it because I feel like it's a path that women don't really take. It's a male dominated industry. It's a boys club. And I feel like I'm very determined to be in this boys club.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, you're the voice. You're starting a trend. Um, there's a lot that I want to unpack on what you just mentioned. Thanks for sharing. That was awesome. Because I feel like you're very vulnerable. A lot of people, when they come on, they don't really like to share how much of a struggle it may be. Um, and I feel like you kind of just found your niche. And one thing, I don't know if you knew this or not, uh, in a sense, the people that pushed you, they were mentoring you into just diving into something new,
Yeah.
whether you were ready or not. And you just admitted that you weren't ready, but a lot of the times you just got to take that first step or that leap of faith that I like to say. It's like sometimes Nike has it right. You just got to do it sometimes. Like there's no other way to find out whether you'll fail or succeed unless you give yourself a chance.
Yeah.
And now I see you kind of developing into this, like I said, representation for other women, and being around business minded individuals is going to change your perspective as a whole too. And now you get to provide this education to anybody maybe in the future who you would decide to mentor, or anybody that comes on into your agency that wants to help out, or maybe wants help transitioning from residential to commercial, because like you said, it seems like it's not for everybody, right? There's going to be some people that are going to strive and succeed in the residential space, and then there's going to be people that are going to enjoy more of the commercial space. And I know my other friend who's a agent as well said he's sold. How do I switch? So you're doing a good service, Vanessa. Like I said, pat yourself on the back. So now, thank you for being open about your vulnerability and the struggles. Let's go ahead and talk about your better half or significant other, however you call them, and the support, right? Because I
Yeah.
know he's also in in the entrepreneurial space where, like you said, you get to manage your own time. Um, so how has that support system been to helping you into the success that you found so far?
Um, I think that real estate, especially, I think any sales industry is really hard, especially when you're working only commission based. You're not getting an hourly pay. I mean, if you're not closing, you're not getting paid.
Hmm.
You're spending money and you're not making any money. I feel like sometimes it can be really discouraging. And I think being able to come home and, like express how frustrated I am and then having him there to just encourage me to keep going or to like hype me up. I feel like he's definitely my hype man. He's constantly um, but I think that's really big for me because I feel like when I feel really hard on myself, I feel like he's there to kind of have my back and pick me up. So I don't know. He's I don't know. He's good. He's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and it's true because my mentors always tell me never to vent down, meaning you don't want to vent to somebody who doesn't understand what you're going through, because they might just kind of brush it off, or they might say the wrong thing to you and now it's going to stick with you and maybe alter the way you're thinking. Whether when you vent to somebody who knows the process, who understands the frustration or has been through something similar, like you said, a hype person. So
Yeah.
everybody on the call, if you're in the sales space, entrepreneur space, starting your own business, go find yourself a hype person because it's what you need. Um, and no, it's true. Support is huge, especially in this day and age. I feel like with social media being on, it's really hard to find a support system So once you find that, it's important to hold on to it and then be very grateful that it's there because yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy. Like Vanessa's saying, she's taking time out of her day free of cost. Time is money. So again, I can't express enough how grateful I am for you to give your time to the rest of us on this call. So my last question before I get into opening it up to questions is talk about a moment you're proud of so far in the industry. What's something that you feel like you'll remember probably for the rest of your life?
Um, I don't know. That's hard. I think the biggest thing I think I'm proud of is making the switch because I feel like it was a really hard decision. I think like I don't know. I think real estate was I don't think I never thought that I was going to get into real estate. Like, I mean, I grew up in the industry. I've known a lot about it. My mom's always kind of primed me for it, but I never thought I would end up in real estate. And I think jumping into the real estate and then jumping into commercial, not knowing anything. I mean, I knew nothing about commercial real estate, and really just kind of putting all my eggs into the one basket, I think was a really big decision for me, and not even just for me, but for my family. Um, and I think I couldn't have done it without all the support I have, and not even just my boyfriend, but I have support from my parents, my mom, my dad, my stepdad, my siblings. I feel like I have a really great support system. So I think like without them, I don't think I could have done it. I feel like they're constantly writing me to do better or to improve. And I think that there's always room to improve. There's always more to learn. But I think had I not made that jump, I think I would probably be unhappy in residential because I don't think it was for me. So I think that was a really big decision, and I'm very proud of myself because I'm a very indecisive person. I'm very cautious, and that was like a big risk.
There you go. So three takeaways from that: take risks.
Yeah.
Maybe not in all aspects of life, unless you're into the adrenaline like that. But finding a support system again, and I do have another question for you, and this is important. I feel um, there was a story that I listened to about a boxing match. I forgot who this person was, but they were fighting Mike Tyson. They were knocked out, and they just miraculously got back up at the end of the match. A reporter asked, like, how did he find it in you to get back up? And he said he did it for his mom. So my question to you is, why are you doing what you do?
For my kids. I think being in a male dominated industry is difficult and discouraging, but I feel like if I can show my daughters that I could do this, I feel like it'll show them that they can do just about anything, you know? Um,
Oh yeah,
so
I love that.
for my
Oh
kids.
yeah, heck yeah. I kind of figured, but I wanted you to say it out loud. Speak it into existence. We do have a question for you in the chat. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll read it out. Do you mainly do corporate leasing, or is there a mix of multi-unit sales as well? And which do you enjoy the most?
Um, so I actually work really heavily in Pomona. When I got into commercial real estate, my stepdad's partner was really deep in the city of Pomona. He actually is the chairman for the economic development of Pomona. So when I came in, I was going to all the chamber meetings. I was meeting a lot of like the city officials. I had met the mayor, and when I initially was starting, I was kind of like, oh man, I don't know, like, do I really want to work in Pomona? It's kind of dangerous over there, and I've been in dangerous situations for sure. Like there's times where I felt like really threatened, not by a client or anything, but like by people that are coming by when I'm touring properties. And but over the time that I've invested to be a part of that. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but the city of Pomona is actually working to better Holt, which is where there's a lot of bad activity. So around downtown Pomona, there's like a HOA, and that all the businesses right there pay higher taxes to, and it goes towards like security, more maintenance, more like policing, just to help better the area. So if you're ever in downtown Pomona and you kind of look around, there's not so much homeless, there's not so much trash. It's like cleaner, it's a little nicer. Um, it's friendlier for patrons to kind of walk around, and the city is working to do that for Holt. It's called a PBID, and you have to get the owners, the business owners, and the property owners to pay more in taxes. Like, we have to be willing to pay into it, but we only need, I think, about 50%. And if we have 50% willing to do that, then they can enforce a PBID on Holt. And being a part of like the economic development of a city that's I don't want to say that bad, but I mean that bad, like, is something that I'm kind of proud of, you know. A lot of the owners that I work with a lot of small businesses, so like not really corporate, mostly like um, private businesses, or and they're, I don't know, they're, it makes me proud to be able to come in and like help these people open up businesses and better the city of Pomona, to give back to the city of Pomona. I actually try now to give a lot of my business to Pomona, which that's something I never did. I never really went into Pomona. I never shopped at Pomona. I didn't, you know, I feel like you try to stay away from places like that. And and now I make it a point to try to give back, because ultimately I want to see the city grow. And I feel like the only way for it to grow is to bring business into the city and bring better businesses into the city, and to kind of beautify it. And some of like the landlords are doing that. You know, they're making it a point to make it look nicer, to draw businesses in. So I don't know if that answers your question.
That's cool. Yeah, that like left me speechless because I didn't know all that stuff, and it's cool to be part of an economic project like that.
Yeah.
All right, Vanessa. I promised you a short, sweet, to the point interview. Let the people know where they could follow you at. If anybody has any questions, I don't know what's the best way to contact you. Go ahead and let them know, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. So you can always find me on Instagram. It's at VNSSA06. I'll post my business card. So if you guys ever have any questions, if you're ever interested into maybe getting into commercial real estate or anything like that, or you know somebody that's looking to open a business and they need an office space, or they need a medical space or a retail space, I'm definitely always here to answer questions or to do what I can to help, um, free of charge.
Oh, cool.
I'll post my business card though on my page. If you guys have any questions, feel free to find me.
Yeah, definitely go give her a follow. I will be posting this interview on my YouTube channel, so feel free to subscribe, like, and share it so other people could hear the message. Vanessa, thank you again so much for your time. I know how busy you are, and have a good day.
Bye. Thanks.